There is a lot of bad advice on how to build a successful marriage out there. It's not just ineffective, it could be heard in your marriage. And today I am going to expose 10 so called expert tips that could be killing your marriage relationship. Now, I've been married for over 31 years, my friend, and as a marriage and relationship coach, I have seen how some of these advice ruin good marriages, good relationships. So here are 10 bad advice that are holding you back and how to reach your marriage goals by doing the opposite. Number 1, faith has no place in a modern marriage. I've heard that a lot lately. Oh, you don't need God to build a successful marriage. I hear a lot of people saying that you don't need to be spiritual to have a great marriage. But I believe that no marriage can be successful long term without God. Marriage is holy. Marriage is a covenant relationship. It is the first thing that God created after he created man. Matter of fact, the first miracle that Jesus did took place at a wedding. I like to say it this way, that the first problem that Jesus solved took place at a wedding. Marriage is spiritual. It is righteous. It was created in the Garden of Eden before the fall. God knows more about marriage than you, me, or anyone. And to say that, in this society today, you don't need God and you don't need to be spiritual to build a successful marriage, this dismisses the spiritual foundation that many couples rely on to shared values and community support and navigating difficult times in their marriage. My friend, God always wanted to be a part of our lives. He never wanted us to separate ourselves from him. And I do believe that couples do have a little bit of success without God in their marriage, because God fall rain on the just and on the unjust. Is that loving and caring God? And so by default, they're getting the benefits of God without even knowing it. But I believe that when we yield our will to God, when we surrender our lives to God, when we surrender our marriage to God, when we put it at the finished work on Calvary at the cross, I believe that we have an advantage that no one else has. And my friend, hear me and hear me well. God promised us that if we rely on him, if we seek him, if we trust his word, he will lead our path. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6 tells us to trust in the Lord thy God with all our heart. We must lean not on our own understanding. In all our ways, we must acknowledge him, and he shall and he will direct our path. Bad advice number 2, if you're truly compatible, you'll want the same things. I think that is so selfish and self-centered. And it's such a messed up society that we're living in that we really think that compatibility is something that you're supposed to seek in a marriage. The truth be told, the moment you get married, you're not compatible anymore, because marriage is not about compatibility. Marriage is about two people who understand their values, know who they are, and willing to learn, to adapt, and to grow, and to engraft themselves with God and each other to become better, able to love and equip and serve each other in marriage. You see, the reality is with a healthy marriage, it requires negotiation. As you grow, as you change, as you evolve, you try to modulate and you try to learn about your spouse. You begin to see them for who they are and not always as they were. Hello? You will not always like the same things. It is boring to think that the both of you have to love the same things. I don't understand what kind of relationship that would be for me to be married and me and my wife just think the same way, we do the same thing, we act the same way. It does. My God, I'm getting anxiety just thinking about it. But when I understand that our visions might be different, our goals, our aspirations are different, but when we learn to love and to put it all together, it creates something special. It makes the relationship so special. It is what allow you and your spouse to enter into each other's world and understand each other better. My God, that's what it's about. And my friend, I want to ask you a favor. If you are getting value from this, please do us a favor. And I want you to hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share. If you are listening via podcast, I would like you to give it a 5-star review rating and give it a review. Thank you so much. May God bless you, and thank you for your support. Let's get back to these bad habits. Bad habit number 3, a happy wife, happy life. Oh, Lord of mercy. Help me, Jesus. Think about that for a moment. You deserve a marriage based on equality and mutual respect and honor. Not one where only one spouse is happy, one person happiness matters more than the other. Because the happy wife, happy life saying can damage your relationship by creating unhealthy dynamics. Think about this, my friend. Why this approach is bad? Because it hurts your marriage. When you prioritize your wife's happiness above everything else, you may suppress your own needs and your feelings. You might avoid necessary conflicts that would actually strengthen your relationship. You risk building resentment that eventually will implode, or you will explode and you will get angry easily. Relationship lack authenticity, it becomes toxic. Relationship that lack honesty and transparency, it's detrimental to the betterment and the welfare of your marriage. That is not a place that anybody can thrive in. That is not a place that a man wants to be in. My job is not to make my wife happy. My job is to love. My job is to serve. My job is to add value to her life. My job is to show up and be the best that I can be for her. That's my responsibility. Happiness is not my job. There's nowhere in the scripture that God tells me to make my wife happy. The Spirit of the Lord tells me through His word that love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave Himself for it. We come up with these oxymorons and these cliche stuff that is just ruining and damaging marriage. Hello? It's about happy house, happy spouse, happy together, happy forever. Both of your emotional needs matters equally. Practice honest communication. How about that? Share your thoughts and your feelings openly, even when it might create temporary discomfort. True intimacy requires authenticity. It requires vulnerability. You can't feel that way if you're in a marriage, that you're not feeling comfortable. Bad advice number 4. Just hire a therapist. They'll fix everything. You see, that's the problem. While professional help is valuable, outsourcing all relationship work to a therapist without personal commitment creates dependency instead of growth. In other words, you are trying to think that everything rely on the other person getting help. Or maybe you think that you could just listen to somebody and it just automatically neutralize the fact that you need to show up and go to work. Therapy and coaching is necessary. But I believe that we must also know that we are responsible for applying what we learn and do the work necessary to have a better marriage. I think that we rely too many times, or we are always relying on a flawed human being to be all things to us. And we forget about God's word. We forget about work ethic. We forget about applying principles that work. We just forget about everything. We just want to Uber our way to success, Uber our way to a better marriage. No, you need to go to work. You have to build on yourself. You have a responsibility to God and to your spouse to be the best that you can be. So you got to show up. Therapy alone is not going to help. We have more therapists. We have more life coach. We have more mentors. We have more gurus. We have more content creators, influencers. Yet still we have more marriages that are falling apart. We have more spouse that is shacking up, committing adultery and virtual affairs and all those different things. Low self-image, low self-esteem. Suicidal rate is at the all-time high. I mean, so much help, but yet we are still broken. That is because we're looking at the wrong source and we're not looking to God. Bad habits number 5. Marriage should be effortless if you're with the one, if you're with your person. You see, this fairy tale notion set couples up for disappointment when they face challenges and problems. And it's not a matter of if you will have problems in a marriage. It's when you do you know how to handle them? Marriage is valuable. And anything that is of great value, my friend, it takes time, it takes commitment, it takes dedication, discipline, faith, intentionality. It takes work. It takes showing up and being the best that you can be. It is absolutely amazing to me that we would spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to go to school, go to college, get a degree, but when it comes to marriage, we don't want to do anything. Don't make sense. One of the most important relationship in your life, you spend less time building it or learning how to become better at doing it. We give it the minimum amount of work and expect to get the maximum amount of result. It doesn't work that way. And then we wonder why marriage is failing. You must be better equipped to do work, to love and serve in your marriage. Bad advice number 6. Happy couples don't argue or have conflict. This is a dangerous myth that prevents healthy conflict resolution, and it leads to suppressing feelings that eventually can create a bigger problem. It is not a matter of if you'll have conflicts, but when you do, how do you deal with them? I kind of covered that a little bit because you see, how you navigate them will determine the kind of marriage success that you will have. Do you attack your spouse or do you attack the problem? Do you complain about the issue or do you criticize your spouse? This is important because the more you understand that argument is not necessarily bad for marriage, but it's an opportunity for you to learn how to communicate better so that you can get the data to make an informed decision as to what is happening and how you can make proper planning and change the mindset or the attitude or the approach in order for you to get the result that you're looking for or your spouse is looking for. And so argument is not always bad for marriage. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become better at dealing with issues in the relationship. Toxic advice number 7. Marriage requires 50-50 effort. I can understand why people to think that that is sort of some safe shared value. 50-50 deal? No. Relationships aren't mathematical equations. This mindset creates scorekeeping that damages connection and trust in the marriage. There was a TV show years ago, and I think you can probably find it on YouTube or somewhere. It's called All in the Family, right? One character name was Archie, and I think Archie Bunker, and I think his wife was Edith, right? and Archie said to his wife, marriage is a 50-50 deal. What are you trying to do? Messed up my half? Marriage is not a 50-50 deal. It's 100%. It is two people that are showing up every single day, giving the best that they can give to each other to build a better, successful marriage. I don't understand why we are can I just share this with you? I think I do know why. Because we have a sin nature. And the nature of our mindset because of sin is to always to take, not to give. And the true essence of love is not what you get from it, is what you give. For God so loved that he gave. And anyone that is a taker from a marriage, you are an imposter. Why? Because marriage requires giving. It requires serving. It requires it's not self-seeking. It's not I-centered. It is not you-centered. It is other-centered. In other words, Jesus said it best, that I did not come to be served, but I come to serve and to give my life as a ransom for many. And so you don't find love where you get. You find love where you give. And if you are in the getting business, then you will never experience love. And so this 50-50 deal kind of thing is basically saying that I'm just going to do enough for me to get by. No, baby, you have to lean in with everything that you have got. That's what it's about. And sometimes when your spouse is not at their 100, you take up the slack. And when you are not your 100, they take up the slack. And whatever you give and whatever they take up, it makes it 100, my friend. That's what this deal about love and serving is all about. Toxic advice number 8. If they love you, they will accept you for who you are. Really? Okay. What does that really look like? Are you telling me that if your spouse is a cheater, a liar, an abuser, a manipulator, bad with money management, anger problem, your spouse supposed to accept you for who you are? Is that who you are? If that's the kind of spouse that you are, they need to throw you back into the street. They need to pack their bag and go somewhere else, because you're not a spouse, my friend. You are a nightmare. And no one wants to deal with a nightmare. They want to wake up from it. And maybe packing a bag and sending you back to your parents and sending you back to where you come from is the best ideal plan of action in a situation where your behavior, your attitude, and your personality and the way you show up for the marriage is impacting their lives. And you're going to sit there and say that, listen, you just have to accept me like this because this is who I am. I don't know who you think you are, but nobody have to accept you, my friend, the way you are. Marriage is about growth. It's about changing. It is about becoming. And that is the reason why in our marriage makeover coaching program, we are very big on teaching people how to build yourself, because you're not building a marriage. You are in marriage and you're building yourself and growing and changing and evolving while you are in the covenant of marriage. And if you'd like to learn more about our marriage makeover coaching, there's a link in this description of this video. You can click on it and book a free clarity call so that we can talk for about 35 minutes to find out if you qualify for what we are teaching and what we're doing, empowering and building and elevating couples to build a better, successful marriage through the principles that we teach in our framework in the program. Okay. Number 9, toxic behavior. Number 9, great sex should come naturally when you love. Well, my friend, let me just be real with you and just tell you just like it is. No, it doesn't. Great sex does not just happen. It is created. You have to know your spouse and understand their sexual needs and their desire, what they desire sexually, how they like to be touched, how they like to be treated, what drive them sexually and what isn't. It is said that a man just need a place to have sex. A woman need a reason to do it. Sex is wired to her brain. You need to understand that when you initiate sex with your husband, it makes him feel connected to you. It makes him say that you're saying that I love you, I see you, I need you, we are good. Let's connect together. Unfortunately for many, for those of you that think that you could just do whatever you want and do it when you want by yourself, no. It is about learning. It is about growing. That's why it's called love making, because every time you get together with your spouse, you are creating love. You are creating something special. I tell men all the time that you are the artist and your wife is a canvas, and you must paint and you must create and consistently being a good creator. And the wife, you need to learn how to create too. It takes 2 people to get married, and it's going to take 2 people to build a marriage right. Dave Willis, in his book, The 7 Laws of Love, he said it this way, that sex does not make a marriage work, but it's almost impossible to make a marriage work without it. It is important for marriage. It's not the purpose of marriage. It's one of the benefits of marriage. And if you are married, your job is to learn to be the best lover that you can be. And I teach men in our coaching program how to become a practitioner of love. Yes, you're supposed to be the initiator of love, and your wife needs to know exactly what to do with that love. And finally, the final toxic advice is that a good marriage doesn't need boundaries. That's a lie. It is a lie. Without healthy boundaries, couples risk codependency, resentment, and burnout. Yes. Some of you guys think you married your mother. No. You might have heard that a good marriage doesn't need boundaries, but this doesn't sit well with me, because we as human, we have a sin nature and we can be very selfish. We can be very self-centered, and we can easily take advantage of the people that we profess to love. Without healthy boundaries in your relationship, you are setting yourself up for serious problems in your marriage. Why do you need boundaries in your marriage? Well, I'll tell you why. You risk losing your individual identity and becoming codependent on your spouse. Marriage is not about codependency. It's about interdependency. It is about the 2 of you intentionally working and growing and becoming better version of yourself so that you can be better equipped to love and serve in your marriage. Your personal needs often go unmet, leading to growing resentment. Did you get that? Your experience, emotional burnout, is constantly because you don't set boundaries. And your spouse see a loophole and can just gravitate and just grab that ideology of just manipulating you, and you don't realize what happened until it's too late. Your relationship lack respect can become very toxic. Oh, because I love him and he says something bad to me, I can't correct him. Oh, you got to be kidding me. I love her and she's my boo and my lover and my friend. I don't want to say nothing. You have got to be crazy. Love is not blind. Love have eyes to see. It's wide open. Use them. You must pay attention to the little subtle details and sometimes the little subtle jabs that they are throwing at you that you don't see coming. Relationship lack respect that comes from honoring each other, it's not going to work. You got to establish boundaries. You got to be self-aware. You need to understand that your identity and your self-worth, your self-esteem, your self-image matters. And you have to put boundaries around people that are trying to take advantage of you. And when I talk about boundaries, I'm not talking about you setting like giving them ultimatum. No, I'm talking about you teaching them how you want to be loved and how you want to be treated. That's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I am talking about. You need to protect your time. It is okay to say some activities draining you. It's draining you. You feel burnt out. I need to rest. I can't go with you tonight. We go to church 3 times a week. I can't go tonight, baby. I want to stay home and rest. And you need to adjust when things are out of sync with your true reality. Too often you sit back and just let things happen. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to be intentional. You and your spouse have conversations, sit down and talk about it. My wife and I, we have what we call check the pulse of our marriage. Check the pulse. Want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. We are living the right way. We are being the best that we can be. Yes, check the pulse of your marriage. Hello, somebody. Did you get that? And too often people just want to run over you. You know, listen, man, if you don't, you got to, listen, you have got to be mindful that people are so manipulative. They're so self-centered. They have a sin nature. And that will wake up any given moment and any given day. The devil can just use them to mess you up. So you've got to be mindful of what the enemy is trying to do. All right, my friend? And those are the 10 bad advice that can really hurt your marriage. These are bad advice that they're toxic in some sort of way. If you rely solely on these, it can hurt your relationship. It can. And so I hope that this was a blessing to you, and thank you for watching. If you're listening via podcast, please subscribe and like and share and give a review and give a 5-star. I appreciate you guys rocking with us. Thank you for all the support that you have given to us on this channel, and may God continue to bless you, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one.